Today I think the lesson is, I'm going to call it one of the most important lessons, but we hardly ever talk about it. And that is what we call cutting corners. So the three fundamental parts of marking are watch the bird, get the bird you're sent for, and don't cheat. Well, the don't cheating part is a pretty broad subject, but the beginning of don't cheating is corner cutters, which means don't go around the water. And people tend to sort of dabble in this. When it comes up, they work on it, but they don't really create a training situation where the dog really learns not to cheat around the water. And corner cutters is the step that starts that process. If you go through your basics, you go to, on the water, you go to single tee in the water, then swim by, and then corner cutters, which means you take the dog in a specific situation, a corner of water, and hand throw and teach the dog don't go around the corner. So today we're going to work on that basic beginning start of teaching a dog not to run around corners of water. It's a pretty easy process, but the dog has to stop on the whistle. He has to be able to take a cast and handle a little bit so you can show him what you want. Some people use the electric collar for this process in such a way that I totally disagree with, and that's what that amounts to is they wait till for the dog to get around the corner and they just press the button and give him a shock, and they're saying don't do that anymore. But the dog doesn't really learn what it means to not cheat around the corner. They just learn that on that particular corner where they went, it's painful. So this process I've used for many years, and it has worked well for me. I'm not saying it's the only way, but it's the way I do it. And I think most people, I mean, even when you're playing around with your dog, just flipping bumpers around, this is something you can practice. And I think it's good to practice their entire life. Plus, they love to do it. It's short, it's just a neat little thing to do. So I'm going to use this corner that's behind me and show you the basic steps of teaching a dog not to cheat around corners of water. Once they learn it, this is a very important statement I'm about to make. Once they learn how to do it, that doesn't mean you go on to the next thing. That means that's where practice begins. It may take 4 or 5 tries to get them to do it correctly, but that's the first aspect of it. If you're teaching a kid to shoot a free throw in basketball, you don't quit after he finally makes one. Once he makes a free throw, that's when practice starts. Now you do 50 a day until you can't miss. And this cheating, water cheating, has to be practiced, because if you're in competition, that's when it counts. It's gotta hold, it's gotta be something that's automatic to the dog, not something that you're hoping that he complies with in competition. So I'm going to go through this process. I think every dog could be better at it than they are, and this little dog here is pretty good at it. So I'm going to have to sort of fake how to make the correction, but I'll do my best to make sure it's clear how this process works. Okay, so when you find your corner of water, which is right here, I hope this becomes real clear on the film, but you're going to throw a corner cutter, which would be, this would be the throw. And there's a little corner of water here. And so the idea is to have a dog back. Good. That goes straight to it. So invariably, I'm not going to be able to pull it off with this dog because we've practiced this so much that I know what she's going to do. But let's say I make this throw. I'm going to have to do this in a different way so you can actually see what to do. You make the throw. Too far, but it's okay. So you send your dog, and let's say, come here, Rainbow. Here. They go here, and the place to stop them when you handle on this, heel, is right here, right at the actual corner. Sit. You stop them there. You whistle. Nick. Call them back. Here. Good. Sit. Back and resend them. Good girl. Sit. While you're practicing, heel. This is also a chance to practice swim by, which is the counterbalance to cheating. So they want to cheat this way, swim by goes this way. So I'll just throw that in. Back. Okay, good. Let's say you incorporate swim by and they don't do it. They keep coming towards you. Don't make the mistake of immediately going into a swim by lesson and forget about the lesson you came out to do. Make a note of it, say, doesn't know swim by well enough where it works when I need it to work. So you make a mental note of it and you come back and do it some other time. Swim by. This is corner cutting. Swim by is different. What you don't want to do in training is combine too many lessons into one situation, because what will happen is they don't learn anything. So if you're working on corner cutters, work on that, even though you might incorporate something else. Just make note of it if they don't do well. And when you're walking around with your dog and you've got a bumper in your back pocket and you see a little corner of water, you throw a few and heel. Sit. Very good. Good girl. How often should you do this? I'd limit it to 10 or 12,000. Don't overdo it. Get back. Sit. Back. See, I'm not gesturing or anything. She knows how to do this. And your dog should know how to do it too. It's one less thing to worry about. Okay, let's take another scenario. Let's say that your mark is here, and the dog takes part of the corner. Come on, Rainbow. Takes part of the corner, but not all of it. What do you do then? Which is likely the next step. Once they understand, well, they can't go around the corner, the next thing they're going to do is not go around the corner, but they're going to beach early. So let's say my fall is over there, but the dog lands here. Heel, sit. It's the same exact correction, except it's a different spot. It's not right on the apex. It's when they land on the beach before they're landing too early. So right here, it's a nick, whistle, nick, here, atta girl, come on, you're all right. She says, what in the blazes is going on here? I didn't really nick there, I just pretended to nick. Back. So in that situation, whistle, nick, call back, and resend. The other correction would be sort of the same, whistle, nick, call back into the water and cast, and then repeat your throw. So you've got some things to write down. If they go around the corner, whistle, nick, here. If they land early, it's whistle, nick, here into the water and cast, or whistle, nick, call them all the way back and resend. Those are the 3 situations that you have to memorize, and you can vary when you use each one of those things. In a real test, let's say this corner is out about 150 yards or so. The dog lands early, and you can't call them all the way back and resend them. It'd be too confusing. So it would be whistle, nick, call them back into the water, and cast when they're out far. But when it's a close situation like this, it's just as good to call them all the way back and resend them, or call them all the way back, rethrow the mark, so it's very clear to them exactly what the mistake was. On an advanced dog like this, you probably don't have to rethrow it, but you're probably not going to have to do it anyway, because if you've been practicing, this doesn't come up very often. Now I'm going to take another situation on a different corner over here, and we'll try it again just so you see this process. Okay, so here's the same situation, just a different corner. So if I throw a bumper across here and she goes around, I'm going to stop, nick, call back. If she lands early, I'm going to stop, nick, call back. Or stop, nick, call into the water, stop, cast down the shore. Those are the 3 types of corrections you use when you're doing what we call a corner cutter. But also, you're working on 2 other things. One, what we would call a down the shore mark, because it's a corner cutter. The farther down the shore it gets, becomes a down the shore mark. When it becomes a little more than a corner cutter and gets farther down the shore, you would whistle, nick, call them into the water, and then cast. Now, here's another topic on in that same chapter. Many people will, if they believe the dog is going to land early, they will handle in the water. Hey, sit. They'll handle in the water and correct the dog. I really don't like to do that. They don't have a point of reference. They think they're doing it right, and you're stopping them and casting them, but they don't really know what they're doing wrong other than being offline. What I'm describing is not correcting their line, it's correcting a mistake that they've actually made. Not getting in the water, landing early, those are mistakes they've made. Being offline is not a mistake. Plenty of dogs do perfect on a mark when they've been offline. We're not trying to teach a dog to line, we're trying to teach a dog not to cheat. Two entirely different subjects. If we want to talk about taking straighter lines on marks, that's a whole different topic. So, in this situation you have going all the way around the water, whistle, nick, here, resend. Or rethrow and send. If it's a puppy, pretty young, you'd probably want to rethrow. So those are that's one. They land early, that's two. So we started our conversation with sort of a beginning dog situation. As they get more mature, you can back a little further away from the water and you can make it more complicated. But in the beginning situation, I'm 15 feet from the water here. With a little puppy, you might be 6 feet from the water. The idea is to make it clear what you want. If you're here and they go that way, tweet, nick, here, rethrow, and send. That's the baby version of what we're talking about. However, in the end, the point of this is to have a dog that doesn't cheat. In a competition, the cheating, especially if it's a retired gun, the cheating can take them off in a direction that doesn't even apply to where they're supposed to be going. So it's very important to work on this. Once they understand the concept of not cheating, then the idea is to practice. How much to practice? Until it's reliable, that you can count on it in competition, with distractions, with other action, but you know it's going to work every time without fail. So teach and then practice over and over until you can count on it. I'm gonna make one other little point that I said, but I didn't emphasize it enough. If you're standing here with a puppy that's just finished swim by and just starting to do corner cutters, when they go around, you call them back, you want to rethrow. You want to have some bumpers here handy so you can rethrow that mark rather than resend them. Once they've done a little bit of this, you don't have to rethrow these little short ones. But in the beginning, rethrowing is a way to make it more clear to the dog. Remember, being simple can still be confusing to a dog. What you want to do is make it clear so it's not confusing, so they understand exactly what you're doing. That's the point of this whole thing. Make it clear. You go from point A to point B, and you don't get out of the water early, and you don't go running around the water. So he lays the beams of his upper chambers in the waters, who makes the clouds his chariot, who walks on the wings of the wind, who makes his angels spirits, his ministers a flame of fire.